Hey everybody, Orion here. So I've recently received a bunch of stuff I bought online because I want to start recording my. I want to start doing decent quality vlogs for various projects I'm working on. So I ordered like a camera. I ordered, as you can hear, a new microphone, and I wanted to inaugurate that microphone on a little vlog. So today I wanted to speak to you about what exactly got me into these kind of fetishes. So if you don't know yet, which you probably will soon, I'm an artist working on body modification kind of uh, fetishes. So body modification is sort of an adjacent category, not far from inflation, expansion, etc. And we could technically say that inflation, expansion, and transformation are all connected to body modification, or maybe it's the other way around, you decide. All these things tend to merge, and the limits aren't always very clear. But basically, what I do is people being infected um, by viruses, parasites, creatures, sometimes even magic, and their bodies start to develop crazy characteristic. It can be physical transformation, like a bigger breast or body part that grows and have a crazy proportion. It can be a skin change. It can be addition of other limbs, members. Sometimes it can be very vanilla and it can go to pretty extreme sort of mutations where people become hybrid of. Most of the times for me, it will be hybrid with aliens, creatures, all that kind of stuff. I don't really do animal transformation. I tend to have like a very sci-fi oriented kind of vibe. And so, where does this come from? Most artists who speak about this kind of most artists who speak about these kind of things will say, "Well, I've seen something um, in a movie, or I've read something somewhere, and then it started. Well, I discovered that I really liked that subject." And I've been recently listening to an amazing YouTube channel, which is Rogue. Um, what's the name again? It's Rogue Expansionist. Oh shit! Let me look it up quickly. So I'm going to take my little thing. Oh, yeah, it's Rogue Inflator, of course. So Rogue Inflator, amazing YouTube channel. You should check it out regularly. What comes up into the, which is more about inflation fetish. Uh, Regularly, an influence for artists that comes up is the blueberry transformation scene from Willy Wonka. And for me, the influence was actually in a comic book, an European comic book called Little Ego, in which character dreams. And as she dreams, she always dreams pretty sexual stuff. It's an erotic comic book. And in one of these dreams, she actually dreams that her breast grows bigger, and then they become very, very big. And I was obsessed by this little sequence. And progressively, I got interested into breast expansion, so I would go on e-hentai or other websites and some forums a bit here and there, even though I'm not really a big forum kind of guy. And progressively, my taste evolved and become more and more extreme. Well, I wouldn't say extreme, but I also developed a very strong relationship with the Alien. For example, I saw Alien 2 way no, wait a second, was it? No, it was actually I think I saw Alien 3 first. Way too early for me. Like I was shocked by it. Like I made nightmares for like a week or so. I was very very small, way too young. And but I became obsessed by the alien world. So I started, to have that weird kind of thing when you don't really dare to look at something, but you can't stop coming back and trying to look at it. And of course, I saw all the Alien movie scenes, and I discovered Giger, and I discovered, like sort of the Alien verse, let's say it, all the comic books and that kind of stuff. And every time, for every movie, it was the same reaction. I would watch it, then I would have nightmares for a week. And for the comic books, it was the same thing, etc., etc., etc. But progressively, I grew up, and my taste for body modification, especially expansion, at first sort of grew too, and I discovered the magic world of hentai online, and the different communities and morphing and all that, and I started collecting images and that kind of stuff. And after quite some time, when I started to develop my skill as an artist, I would draw sometimes, some kinky stuff. But it was pretty rare at first, and I would draw them on paper, and then I would hide the paper. Most of the time, I would destroy the things because it was really like uh, I wasn't really in contact directly with people who would do that. So my sort of expectation sorry for that kind of art and that kind of stuff was very limited. It was something that I would watch in secrecy online, and it wasn't exactly something that I thought I would ever pursue as a creator. But then what happened is that um, so I kept drawing these things from time to time, and it was pretty motivating to do it. But I would do it like sporadically, a little bit here, a little bit there. I would hide the drawings, I would destroy them. It was mostly on paper. Then I started to do digital, and from time to time I would sketch some. I would sketch some. Sorry, I would sketch um, some little stuff here and there, but like with the paper, I wouldn't keep the files. I would delete them because I didn't really wanted to have that on my computer. And what if someone's find it? And it was a strange relationship because except regular drawings, which were meant to be shown at some point, those kind of drawings actually they weren't supposed to be shown. Like I would just do them and then delete them. Um, so, but at some point, I started to discover a bunch of artists which actually had a thing called Patreon, and I started to see, how possible it is, how it is possible to monetize that kind of stuff. Which I mean, I sort of knew it existed because there's a bunch of website with subscriptions and that kind of stuff. But Patreon, it was really like an awakening because I saw how there are those artists. They are not necessarily incredible artists, not bad either, and they draw what they like, and they draw all these very personal kinky stuff. When I mean personal, I mean very specific kind of kinks. And quite some time passed. I was at the end of my studies, sort of searching to work as a uh, entertainment artist, illustrator, concept artist for video games, cinema, and all that. I wasn't really finding anything. I was in sort of in a in between state, and then I decided, well, why not give it a go? Why not? I will. I think I took the decision after watching a bunch of video from how is it called, adult artist, pretty known in the community of adult art. It's Shady Shade. No, wait. Well, I will put the name of that artist down below. Uh, he's a bit controversial, I think. Pretty like he doesn't hesitate to do shocking stuff. Oh gosh, I can't find the name. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, so I watched a bunch of video. I started to look at Patreon stuff, and I discovered a bunch of artists there. And then after a certain time, well, I decided I'm going to do a bunch of images, of sets of images, and start a Patreon. And that's pretty much how it started. At first, it was pretty quickly done. Most of the time, my objective is to finish the set, not to make something perfect, because it's a very, like, I try to have like a reverse mentality from my regular work. When regular work, I'm pretty much trying to do something like very well done, while with ORIONART, I'm more trying to finish the thing. Now, of course, I'm trying to keep to have like a nice quality and all that. So I started to do quick uh, sets of images, and the idea naturally came of to exaggerate body parts and to just take like a model, make like a creature, kind of humanoid person. One of my oldest set of images is about is called Creamy. For those who know, if you dig a bit, you'll be able to find it. And it was basically the picture of like a real woman's picture that I will copy and then just change just the skin color, change the facial features, and then basically play and make a variation of the same image with bigger breast and play with the nipple size. And this is where I discovered that I like to have like crazy nipples. And then I did the face hugger sequence, another very old one for those who remember. We're talking about stuff that happened 1 year and a half. And I discovered, you can play with the size of very specific things. You can play with breast, which is like a pretty obvious thing for all the expansion fans. And then, you can also extend, the nipples and the areolas of the breast, and you can separate them. You can have pretty big areolas and small nipples, and you can have inverted nipples. And then, you can also play with the genital. In this case, I always do female figures, so I'm going to talk from that perspective. And you can keep on playing and separate these different parts. Even the genital of the female bodies, like there are several sub-elements, like the clitoris. Of course, I'm going to talk about very explicit stuff. I hope that the YouTube bots and all that will not destroy my channel too quickly. So you can take all these little parts, sub elements of body parts, and you can exaggerate them and create weird combination and lack of balance. And progressively the taste of that just developed, and I experimented as time went by. I'm up to a point where now I'm mutating stuff. I'm not just transforming the size. I'm thinking about, what about a mutant tongue? What about mutant genitals? Like if they are transformed and mixed with the DNA of an alien creature, of an octopus kind of monster, and it gives those. And I'm playing with colors and materials, and stuff can start to glow. And as time passes by, it just keeps getting. I suppose some people might say it keeps getting worse and worse, or better, depending on who you ask, I suppose. And the transformation aspect just keeps getting more and more, let's say, intense. At first, I was just making things grow a bit. Now I'm making things grow a lot. I'm transforming more and more specific details, and I'm also transforming more and more of the body altogether. My actual project, on which the project I'm working on right now, I'm sort of transforming limbs more and more, transforming hands and feet, and making tentacle hairs, and changing the size of the tongue. I've added eyes and played with multiple breasts and all sorts of things. So it's getting more and more. I can feel I'm having more and more fun going into more and more extreme landscapes, and I also discovered inflation, and, well, not necessarily inflation, but impregnation and egg implantation, which is also something weirdly that I appreciate. I don't exactly know why. So this idea that a poor woman victim will be impregnated by some alien creature, and then you've got a bunch of eggs growing inside of that host. I've also thought about nipple insertion now, which is another whole kind of thing. So basically, the more I'm drawing, the more I'm making projects, the more I'm understanding that you can play and twist the human body and sexualize it into weird ways. And so, yeah, my next fan art set that I'm working right now is it's a comic. Um, it's going to be a short comic uh, in the world of Zelda. So, and one of the characters is going to be heavily mutated because I have decided to please my patrons. Maybe I'll talk about Patreon strategies later. It's a kind of topic that might satisfy a lot of people. So I've made like a poll system where people can choose mutations, and these mutations will impact the stats of the character, and it will add some weird characteristics. And yeah, now we have like a character which have multiple breasts, and we'll end up with tentacle hairs and even tentacle hands. And I mean, the possibilities are endless. And I'm also considering new kind of fetishes, weird things, which as I suppose they are adjacent and linked to the crazy aspect of loss of control of body modification. Uh, a theme I'm playing with is amputee kind of stuff. No, I don't like pain, so it's not about the act of cutting limbs of somebody, but more the situation where somebody, for whatever reason, will have lost her limbs, let's say an accident, an explosion or what's not, and then has to deal with, um, well, replacement of these limbs by prosthetics or mutated parts that are autonomous, don't really obey to the host. And it's always the same thing where I suppose that body modification is a bit like the adjacent, like the the nasty cousin of body horror, where body horror you lose control of your body and it twists and become grotesque and ugly and monstrous. Well, body modification is a bit is like the sexual variation, sexual version of that. So there's also that element of loss of control of the individual about. Let me restart that sentence. Sorry, it's a bit late. I'm a bit tired, and I'm not used to speak like that. I haven't prepared anything, so I really appreciate the loss of control, the fact that the host has to deal with a crazy thing happening to her body, like let's say what happened if the genital of that house start to take crazy proportion, how to deal with that in your everyday life. And that thing has sort of evolved like the other aspect that I talked about earlier. And that's why I'm sort of getting more and more interested into the notion of amputation, and more specifically the idea that I've had pretty recently. In fact, I'm writing a story. Would be a character lost her limb because of an accident, probably soldier in a war or something, and then she's visited by a rich person, which proposes, okay, I can offer you the best prosthetic and all that. So it's futuristic setting. But I have, for a limited period of time, I have like full control over your body, and you have to obey me, and the prosthetics will be under my control. So basically, the person, the heroine, the hero, female hero, uh, would have, because of the accident, lost legs and arms, and then she gets those very advanced prosthetics, but they are under the control of that nasty new temporary master. And so I'm thinking about how it could go, to have like, you have limbs, but they are not under your control. So it's an interesting, I think, kind of variations of these kind of themes. So anyway, I think this video has been going on a bit longer than expected, which isn't that bad because I haven't prepared any text. So I was like, okay, I hope that this video hasn't been too annoying. And I will see you guys next time for some news about comic book I'm working on, for some other little project and other ideas. I think I'm going to speak about my journey on Patreon, maybe how to make money, my experience as an adult artist. Anyway, thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share. I will put links down below about what I've talked earlier. Oh yeah, I remember the artist I was talking about, like that does videos that I really like. So there is Rogue Inflator, which does really nice sort of documentaries about inflation and all that. And there's Shadbase. Oh, Shadman. Sorry, Shadbase is the website, and Shadman, also very nice artist, very interesting kind of guy. Anyway, thanks for sorry. Thanks for listening. See you next time. Bye bye.